Hey everybody, it's JP. I'm going to run through some quick reasons today why I chose Becker CPA Exam Prep to take the CPA exams and to pass them all on the first try. If you're looking to take the CPA exams, if you're trying to decide between a couple different study programs, I'm going to give you my top 3 reasons on why I chose this and how it helped me pass the exam. First, if you give a quick like and subscribe to the channel so I can put out more content like this. Okay, so my top 3 reasons for choosing Becker. First is the history, second, word of mouth, and 3, ease of use, and we'll dive into each of these a little bit in more detail here. First one, history. Becker's been around since 1957. That's 67 years. They've been doing this for a good portion of the last century. So with this, again, history doesn't mean everything and longevity doesn't mean everything, but they have adapted their program over the last 70 years over some major hurdles. Since 1957, the internet was invented. The test went from 2 days in-person written exam to now being an online exam. The amount of hurdles they've overcome and stayed at the top of this business is quite impressive, and that helped me really trust them and wanted to make me sign up with Becker and buy the program. The history just speaks a lot of volume. They also have a connection with the AICPA. Just with listening to their lectures while I was taking this exam, the prep course, they have constant communication with the AICPA. And if you're not familiar, the AICPA is the group that writes this exam. So Becker has close connection with them, and not saying that they see questions that are on the exam before people do. That's not the case. But they know really, really well what is on this exam, what's tested and what's expected, and then they give that right to you in their prep course. So that's a huge bonus. Results. On their website, 98% of people who won the Elijah Watt Sells Award use Becker. If you're not familiar with that award, it's given to people who pass their exams, all 4 parts, on the first try and average a 95 or higher. A 95 or higher on each part. Those are incredible scores, and the fact that 98% of the people who win that award use Becker is pretty impressive. Again, at a 94% pass rate. This is self-claimed on their website, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But this is students who used Becker and reported back their scores to Becker. So there is a little bit of trust there that students correctly reported their scores, but still not a bad rate. And then personally, my results. I used Becker and scored a 96 on FAR and BEC, a 94 on Reg, an audit, an 89. And I wouldn't consider myself a genius, folks. Becker really, really helped me prep for this test. I had a good education in my undergrad, but Becker helped me refresh. It helped me go over things I'd forgotten. It was huge for me. I wouldn't have passed it without Becker. And here, this is a horrible picture of me going to take my very first exam. I took FAR first. I was at a wedding the day before, forgot a complete change of clothes, and so I wore these dress shoes that I had worn the day before this wedding to go take my exam. Walked into the exam center like this, looking like a total idiot, freaking out. I'm worried about I'm going to fail this test. And ended up walking out with a 96 on FAR. So those were my lucky shoes after that day. Number 2, word of mouth. I had been recommended Becker by friends, family, coworkers, professors at my university. Almost everyone that I asked suggested Becker, and this was a really strong motivator for me to try them because I hadn't heard many people that had done GLIME or UWorld or some of these other programs. Not saying that they're bad, but I had heard the most about Becker, and that really influenced my decision. 3, I'll say ease of use. There's a lot of great features with Becker, and there's even more since I took the exams in 2021. The lectures are great. Again, I'll say that I did my undergrad program and knew most of the principles of accounting, but over 4 years you kind of forget a lot of the details of the specifics that come back on the exam, but the lectures are just the right amount of detail to bring that information back and to brush you up on that knowledge. They don't go into too much detail, and they also respect what you've learned already. Multiple choice bank. Again, Becker's been around for almost 70 years. They have so much data, so much knowledge, so many practice questions that they've accumulated over the years. They're a huge resource. You couldn't do these multiple choice questions enough to memorize them or to not get good practice. You can do the multiple choice questions in each module, but you can also do practice sets. You can pick sets of 20 or 30 or 40 multiple choice from certain sections of the test and just do your own custom practice test, which really, really helped me get ready for exam day. Becker now, this is new since I took the exams, but they have mini exams. So if each exam, say, is broken up into 5 or 6 sections, every 2 sections they provide a mini exam that tests you on the knowledge you've learned in the last couple of sections. And this really helps alleviate the fear for people who are worried that by the end of their studying that they're going to forget what they started with. They'll forget information from the first couple sections. But these mini exams really reinforce stuff along the way, and it's a good gauge for how well you're doing and what you need to go back and review on. And finally, one of the best things I liked with the Becker was the simulated exams. At the very end of your studying, each exam has 2 simulated exams that you can do on Becker's website. These are like a dry run, basically, of the real test. They take the 4-hour time limit. It's the exact thing that you'll see on exam day. So, you'll have 2 testlets of multiple choice questions. Then you'll have your 3 testlets of sims. And the timing and the breaks are set up in the exact same way that when you do these, you really get a feel for test day. You get extra practice questions that you haven't seen before, but most importantly, like practicing sitting there for 3 or the full 4 hours taking that exam. Doing those sim exams helped me feel really comfortable on exam day. It wasn't the first time I had run through the motions or run through how the test was going to feel, and I think those helped me so much. They also pinpointed areas that I still needed to tweak and still needed to get a little bit better at. I'll say one bonus thing that they've added too since I used Becker was the study plan feature. I am a huge proponent of study plans. I specialize even in making study plans for students that I tutor one-on-one, but Becker has this really cool feature where you can input your study plan right on their program. You can put your exam date in there and then work through your studies and how much you're going to do per day and certain things like that, and kind of pace yourself with the program. I think that's a really cool feature. I will give one warning, and that Becker is not foolproof, but this is the same warning that I would give for any study program. You are only going to get out of Becker what you put into it. I studied for hundreds and hundreds of hours to get the scores that I did, to get those 90s and 180. It takes a lot of time. Stuff I see online and on blogs, on Reddit, people are looking for shortcuts and they're looking for life hacks, but I'll just tell you straight up with the CPA exam, there are no shortcuts. You have to put the hours in. Just signing up for Becker isn't enough. You have to get in there and you have to use it. You have to put in the hours and put in tons and tons of time to get these scores, to get that 75. So that's my warning, is it's not as simple as buying this program and skipping some sims and skipping lectures. People ask me all the time, can I skip the sims? Are they really necessary? They take too much time. It depends if you want to pass or not. You really need to do the sims. You need to practice, and you need to do everything that Becker tells you to do because they're the experts. They've been doing this for 70 years, and they know what it takes to pass these exams. In summary, Becker is a historic prep course that has adapted very well over time. I'll also say, too, that some people are worried with the new CPA evolution. Becker is getting a little outdated or whatnot. But again, I'll point back to that over 70 years, Becker has made much larger pivots than the CPA evolution in 2024. They overcame the internet and online testing, countless accounting standard updates over the last 50, 60, 70 years. The CPA evolution change or pivot, whatever you want to call it, is really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. What they did basically was split up some content that was all kind of jumbled into BEC, and they split it into 3 exams that were more comprehensive and that focused on certain areas. And those 3 exams might be a little bit more detailed than what was just covered in BEC, but really it's not a big pivot. And if you can trust anybody to overcome this change in the exam, you can trust Becker. Second point, Becker has all the bells and whistles. You don't need any other programs. You don't need any other test banks. You don't need to buy any other silly programs. Becker is the all-inclusive real deal. And again, they have proven results for 67 years. I highly recommend them. They helped me to pass my exams on the first try. Again, once you put in that time. If you thought this was helpful, please remember to like and subscribe and leave any comments below. Thanks.